I've had a goal for over a year to capture the northern lights while in a small bay in Prince William Sound. Accomplishing this goal is much harder than it might sound. You can't see the northern lights in the summertime because it's light all day and night. Prince William Sound is usually cloudy, and in the winter it becomes difficult because of the extreme temperatures and excessive snow. But today, it all came together, and I'm excited to show you how we did it. We are headed out to Shoestring Cove in Prince William Sound and hunting for the Aurora Borealis.
I was just calling to see if you're free to run away with me, to run away with me.
It's late October and we left the marina with whipping winds and biting cold. It can be nerve-wracking trying to maneuver a boat around a harbor with high winds, but today we are in good hands. I have my dad and one of my sons on board as deckhands, and both are very capable. The winds were between 20 and 30 miles per hour, and they were kicking up some pretty rough seas. The marine forecast said that we would have 4-foot seas. The wide-angle camera doesn't capture how rough it was, but the seas were definitely at least 4 feet. There was areas of breaking waves over the swells. It didn't seem dangerous, but it was definitely rocking the boat. I always check the marine forecast and the windy app before leaving the harbor. The windy app shows high winds out of the west, and the winds seem to form a tunnel out of Passage Canal and into Prince William Sound. However, the wind abruptly subsided toward the north, and this is exactly where I wanted to go. Our plan was to leave Whittier, head north towards College Fjords, and then enter Esther Passage to Shoestring Cove. The windy app showed no significant winds around Esther Passage. And exactly like the windy app predicted, once we got around Esther Passage, everything went completely calm. If you have never been through Esther Passage, I highly recommend it. It is one of those special and beautiful places in Prince William Sound. The commercial fishing boats do a lot of fishing around Esther Island during the summer because of the pink salmon hatchery in Lake Bay on Esther Island. The entrance to Shoestring Cove is very narrow. I'm going to zoom in, out, and back in again so you can get a good look at the entrance. When you enter the cove, stay mid-channel, but once you have cleared the entrance, turn slightly towards the left bank to give the rocks on the right bank plenty of room. The marine charts show about 1 foot of depth at the entrance, but we never measured less than 30 foot of depth. We were doing this at high tide, but I have gone in here at low tide before and not had any problem. My vessel has about a 3-foot draft. My first time entering the cove, I was extremely nervous, but I trusted my marine charts and everything worked out fine. When the tide is moving in or out of the cove, a swift current will pick up at the entrance. If your vessel is low power, then you definitely want to do this at slack tide. There are a number of rocks that need to be avoided through Shoestring Cove, so pay attention to your marine charts, and when in doubt, go slow and have someone act as a lookout on your bow. You see the discoloration in the water? This is exactly what I'm looking for. Discoloration is probably not a nautical term, it's probably more of a medical term, but when I see discoloration in the water, it really piques my interest and gets my alarm bells going in my head because it could be a submerged rock, and if you hit a submerged rock, it could have catastrophic consequences. If you look on the marine charts, this rock is identified by just a small asterisk, but the rock is actually gigantic. It's just underneath the water at high tide, but at low tide, as you see here, the rock really starts to come through the water, and you really start to see the magnitude of how big the rock is. We anchored all the way at the head of the bay, shown as this deep area on the marine charts. After we set anchor, we got the dinghy out to head to shore. We wanted to do a little exploring, and I needed to set up the camera to try and catch some aurora pictures over the night. It was really great to have both my mom and dad on the boat. They don't get on the boat very often. It's hard to get them off the homestead. Both my mom and my dad work really hard on our homestead. My grandparents moved to Alaska in the 1940s, and my parents have been working on that homestead, I think ever since they were born. It's kind of hard to see your parents age. They start to slow down, and they definitely have more aches and pains. But I've also seen how their relationship and their love for each other has definitely grown over the years. I see my dad do little things like comb my mom's hair because her shoulder hurts too bad, or I hear my mom talk about all the little things my dad does for her. It's kind of cute. But it was my mom's birthday today, and so I really wanted to get her some aurora pictures for her birthday. Tell you what, it looks pretty cool out here. Look at that, Shoestring Cove in the morning. The next day we got up and got back in the dinghy to go to shore and retrieve the camera to see if we actually got any images of the Northern Lights.
All right.
I was really hopeful we would get something.
See if we can start this.
We also did a little more exploring in the bay.
And you gotta break the ice off the seat.
Okay. Went through the ice. Oh, whoops. We're still connected up there. Okay, that was cool. We gotta do that again though.
I wasn't totally sure if the Northern Lights were even gonna come out tonight. There was a small chance of the Northern Lights showing up, but you never really know. I was very hopeful for tonight though. One of the reasons is we actually had clear skies. It's almost never clear skies in Prince William Sound, so this is one of those rare occasions where we actually had clear skies. The camera's a little tricky to set up. I had to set it up when it was still light. The problem with setting it up in the dark is I'd have to get in the dinghy and head to shore in the dark. There's a lot of ice and things were going to freeze overnight, so it'd just be a little too dangerous to do during the night. So I set up my camera during the day. I had to set the exposure for the middle of the night, which meant when I started taking the pictures were overexposed and blown out. I set the camera up for 2-second shutter speeds with an ISO setting of 2000. I set my aperture wide open at 2.8. I set the camera to take pictures every 10 seconds. As you can see in the pictures, the first pictures I took were completely blown out, overexposed, but as the sun set and everything got darker at night, the exposure turned out to be perfect. In fact, the exposure got a little too dark, but I knew that we would have not a full moon, but a large bright moon out, and so I tried to set the exposure to compensate for the light of the moon. And as you can see here, the moon came out and really lit up everything. It started to light up the mountain and then light up the entire foreground. If you're watching this on a good screen, you can make out the Big Dipper in the center of the sky. The Big Dipper is actually rotating as the images move on. I took about 4,000 pictures total throughout the night, but then in the middle of the night, the real magic started to happen, and we were really lucky.
Calling to see if you're free to run away with me, to run away with me. Don't tell your friends, we'll let them know we're safe later on. The road is calling, sun on our skin, sleeping under stars when it's
Well, happy birthday, Mom. You've got 7 kids who really love you, and I'm really glad you're able to come out on the boat with us. I'll play the picture sequence through one more time so that you can see it again. I hope that anybody that's watching this can enjoy it and know that it's really special to be able to see the Northern Lights. It doesn't happen very often, even for us who live in Alaska.
I was just calling to see if you're free to run away with me, to run away with me. Don't tell your friends, we'll let them know we're safe later on. The road is calling, sun on our skin, sleeping under stars when it's gone. I was just calling to see if you're free to run away